Okay, section 1.2, page 2. We have these statements called conditionals. Okay, what is a conditional? Well, that has the words if and then in it. A conditional statement is of this form: if P, then Q. Okay, so what does that mean? Right. Well, it is, basically the P part is what you assume, and Q is the result of assuming P. If P, then Q. P is called the antecedent, and Q is called the consequent. Sometimes P is called the hypothesis and Q is called the conclusion. But in speaking logically, they use the words like antecedent and consequent. Okay, if X and Y is true, then Z. If you have a statement like, if this and this happen, then Z would happen. Well, that means Z will happen if both X and Y happen. All right, we will study conditionals more in depth in the next section. But if you use the word and, this is called conjunction, both of these have to be true for Z to happen. The second statement says if X or Y, then Z. And this means Z will happen if either X or Y or both happen. I guess I should say happens. Okay. If X happens, then Z is a consequent. And Y, if Y happens, then Z will happen. If X and Y both happen, then Z will also happen. All right, let me give you an example here. If it rains and if the coach comes in tomorrow, then we will meet in the gym. Okay, makes sense? All right. So there are 4 types of situations here. Okay, I don't know if you can get that. I think it's easy to understand why there are 4 outcomes here. Okay, because you have the rain and you have a coach coming in, right? And so this could be both true. Okay, it may rain and the coach is there. It could be that it rains but the coach doesn't show up. It's true. It may be that the rain doesn't happen. It's rain is false, and the coach may come in. Could be both false, right? So you have TT, TF, FT, FF. You see easily that there should be 4 categories, right? And so the question says, question is, when are we under what conditions are we going to meet in the gym? And the answer is, because the word and is used, in a sense, if it rains and the coach comes in tomorrow, that's only the first line here. Then we will meet in the gym. So this would be true here. All other cases, we don't know what's going to happen. Okay, if it rains and the coach doesn't show up, are we going to still meet in the gym? Well, we don't know that. So this will be FFF. Actually, I'm not going to even say FFF because we don't know if we will meet in the gym or not, right? So just simply, let's put this as a question mark. And so we don't know what happens if the conditions are not satisfied. Okay, what I have just drawn is called a truth table. All right, on the other hand, if you use what we call a disjunction, so and is called a conjunction or is called a disjunction. And if the statement is disjunction, then if one of these things happens, okay, if it rains or the coach comes in tomorrow, then we will meet in the gym. Okay. Now this is a language. This is a kind of language we use every day, right? In that case, if one of these things happens or both, okay, then we will meet in the gym. So if it rains and the coach shows up, yes, we will meet in the gym. If it rains, then we will meet in the gym, regardless of whether the coach shows up or not. If it does not rain, but the coach is here tomorrow, then we will meet in the gym. The only situation we don't know what happens is the last case, right? So this is called, these are called truth tables, okay? And if you look in the textbook, we have a large section dedicated to these truth tables. Unfortunately, these are pretty difficult and get more and more complicated, so we will not worry too much about these things. You will not need to know how to construct truth tables. Okay, now let's go to the next subsection, which is about quantifiers and negations. All right, these will make things a little complicated, but these are very important, essential things. And we will probably make reference to this over and over throughout the course. Okay, so there are two types of quantifiers. What are these two types of quantifiers? One is called the universal. I'm not talking about the theme park. And then the other is existential. And I'm not talking about philosophy here. All right, so let me just go tell you what these things are. Under universal quantifiers, we have words like each, every, and no, and none. Okay, and under existential quantifiers, we have words like some, or there is, and there are. Okay, oops. So as you can see, existential has to do with the existence of something, and universal means every or none. Okay, all right. The thing about quantifiers is the existence of a quantifier makes the negation process a little more challenging. Not very much, but you have to be very careful when you negate a statement with quantifiers. Okay, so how can you disprove this? If somebody says to you, look, everyone who lives in LA has been to Magic Mountain. Is that true, by the way? Probably not, right? So if you want to prove that this statement is not true, what would you have to prove? You don't have to prove that nobody who lives in LA has been to Magic Mountain, right? If somebody says everyone who lives in LA has been to Magic Mountain, you can say, oh, no, that's not true because, yeah, you basically have to find one person, at least one person who lives in LA and has not been to Magic Mountain, right? Again, I hope you're writing these things down. Okay, these are the notes that you would keep in your notebook and study before your test. Okay, so that is the negation, in a sense, a negation of what I just stated here. Therefore, the negation of the statement, everyone who lives in LA has been to Magic Mountain, is the statement that there is someone, or there is at least one person who lives in LA and has not been to Magic Mountain. See that? So notice here, this uses the there is someone. That is an existential quantifier. So when you negate a universal quantifier, okay, when you negate a statement with a universal quantifier like everyone who, then the negation is going to be an existential statement. Okay, let's go to the next one, which is the opposite of this. The next question, write the negation. Some people, again, a few people, at least one person, some people can run 100 miles. Okay, so if somebody says, look, some people can run 100 miles, if you want to dispute that, if you want to negate it, what do you have to show? Now, your burden is much heavier. Okay, so because if somebody says, you know, there are some people, not many maybe, but there is at least one person who can run 100 miles, the negation would be no one can. Okay, so no one can run 100 miles. You probably can't prove that because that's not true, but that is the negation of the statement, some people can run 100 miles. So when the original statement uses an existential quantifier, right, then the negation is going to have a universal quantifier. Get that? All right, let's go to the next one. Write the negation of this statement, no one likes rugby. Oh, that's not true because now again, you don't have to prove that everyone likes rugby. All you have to do is to find one person, right? Some people like rugby. That is a negation. Technically speaking, this is saying there is at least one person who likes rugby. Okay, that would be the negation. And notice again, the original statement was one with a universal quantifier, and the negation has the an existential quantifier. So here's a pattern that you observe about negating sentences with quantifiers. And by the way, negation just is asking, what does it take to refute or disprove the claim? Okay, let's try to write this down. If somebody says all x are y, the negation is some x are not y. Right? All people, all young people watch TikTok. No, that's not true. Some young people do not, right? That's the negation. All right, how about the next one here? Some x are y. If some x are y, and if you negate that, then what you want to say is no x are y. And then the last one, if somebody says no x are y, then you say, oh, that's not true. There is at least one. Okay, so some x are y. All right, so these are the patterns you see in negating sentences with quantifiers. All right, let's finish this section with 3 examples, 3 exercise questions. Negate each of the following. No babies sleep through the night. Oh, that's not true because, and what would you have to claim? There exists at least one child baby who, I mean, nobody's going to speak this way strictly logically, but what you need to say is something like there is at least one baby who does sleep through the night, correct? And so normally we would say things like some babies do sleep through the night. That would be a good negation. If somebody says some students have to work, how would you dispute that or disprove it? Some students have to work? Oh, no, because no students have to work. Okay. Now I know this is not true, but it is the opposite. It is the correct negation. Okay. And try not to, think about whether what you're writing is true or not in the real world. Okay, because the real world really has nothing to do with logical statements. Okay. Last one. Everyone likes desserts. Oh, that's not true because there's at least one person who does not. Okay, so you say some people do not like desserts. You could also say more precisely, there exists at least one person who does not like desserts. I know nobody is going to speak with such levels of logical accuracy, but that is exactly what the negation is supposed to be saying. Okay, there exists at least one person who does not like dessert. Okay, so I hope you understand how to negate these statements. Now go to the 3rd page, which is your quiz for section 1.2. You should try this on your piece of paper, on your printout first. If you want to, you can check your answer with the answer key found under section on the page for section 1.2, or you can go directly into the online version of this quiz, answer these questions, and check your answers. Because once you enter and submit your answers online, any incorrect answers will be flagged and you will get immediate feedback. Okay. So I trust you have gotten the basic ideas of section 1.2. We will continue with our study of logic through chapter 1. I'll talk to you later. Have a great day.